Hello, 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 everyone. This is Coach Powell. I got to welcome you to this special edition of Coffee, Tea, You and Me. For those of you who have been following me over the years, you know that I go live every Friday. Every Friday, around about the 3 o'clock hour, we start talking it up, chopping it up, talking about the things that make small businesses tick and the issues and the opportunities that you have to take advantage of. We want to talk about all those things. Today, you are in luck. Today, you get to participate and engage with us as we begin to discuss the 9 steps to magical professional relationships. And today's session is super important because we're continuing the discussion of last week's discussion on making sure that you are planning effectively to do what you need to do with your highly productive team. I can't stress that enough. We're talking about planning together with your highly productive team, your fast-paced, slow drag, no drag, high performers who have come to you and develop an idea of doing something collectively, doing something together. And I don't care how you assemble the team, but I do care for the fact that it's a high performing team, because what we're going to talk about today is how do you lead and how do you plan with a high performing team. Now, last week we started talking about this, and we started talking about making sure that you had everything on deck that you need to have on deck to deal with what I call the 4 steps of planning with a high performance team. We started talking about commitment, how important it is to organize and structure and have a full understanding within the team of what everybody is committed to, what strategies are important for them to use, and an absolute understanding of what the commitment entails that they are engaging in. Most people find out too late when they join the team that they're overcommitted, or they've committed to something they're not quite sure of. So you want to make sure that you understand and you have fully disclosed, and everybody around you fully understands not just what the commitment is required of every team member, but what is the specific commitments that is required for each member of the team, and making sure everybody understands what each member of the team will bring to the table and will add to the functioning of whatever the plan on the project or process or program that you are delivering. This is a critically important communication piece, because if you don't get that commitment thing right, you'll have people who set the wrong expectations or expect the wrong things from themselves and from others, and you won't have the ability to recover from the damage that is done because you have mismanaged expectations. The second thing I've already talked about is belief. Believing in not just the plan, but each other, everybody on the team. There's got to be a lot of interpersonal or intrapersonal communication that happens on a high-functioning team, because when people have this strength of knowledge and understanding that they can believe and trust in one another, they're more likely to come to help when it's needed. They're more likely to give a person the benefit of the doubt when maybe something slips through the cracks, or maybe something doesn't function the way they may have expected it to function. But because they have that core belief in one another, it is pretty important. So you might have gotten your high performance team together, but if they don't know each other enough to believe in each other, then it's a non-starter, because whatever plans you put together are going to be affected negatively by the lack of belief in each other and in the whole mission and the organization in and of itself. Today, we're talking about the last 2 aspects of that 4 major concepts that you need to get in with your high performance team before you engage in the journey towards whatever goal, program, plan, process, strategy, whatever it is you're trying to do. You need to get these things in order before you move forward. Now, that's what we're going to talk about today. Let you know it right up front. But today is also a special day, because if you might not understand, you might hear a little background noise, you may hear some people, yelling and screaming. I am actually today at the Eastern Regional Conference of the Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, my lovely fraternity, and my wonderful brothers are getting together for the Eastern Regional Conference. And we're talking about amazing things, how we can be more effective in what we believe in and in what we are already committed to. So I'm going to use some of the examples that I've learned from our fraternity to share with you, how to plan for your high performance team. Because if you think collectively, there are thousands and thousands of brothers who are active and all over the world, and they're all shooting from the same script when it comes to understanding how to plan effectively within the organization. And I get to share some of those things with you today, as well as some practical examples. So I know some of you are out there, you're watching this either online later on demand, or you're watching live now. But I want you to know that Coffee Tea, You and Me, this program has always been and always will be a business-friendly program. What do I mean by that? I mean, I want you to put your information in the chat. I want you to come through. I want you to make sure that you are fully engaged. I want you to let us know who you are. If there's something that you're doing, a link that you can provide to something that you're doing, put that information in the chat. And if I get a chance to give you a shout out or big you up or answer a question, I want to do that. If you have a question about anything I share or anything that you want to know about, again, put your question in the chat. Because if I can't answer the question, you never know amongst the thousands of entrepreneurs and business leaders that watch this live show, who could come around and answer your question. It may be as simple as, I need a job doing blah, 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 whatever blah, blah, blah is for you. You can go through and you can post a question. I see my girl Tamika's out there. Thank you so very much, Tamika, for joining in today. I'm glad you're able to do so. Tamika is one of the best of what she does. Make sure you put your information in the chat, Tamika. Let us know, where you're coming from, or what your business is. Is there any links to anything you want us to see or show and all that kind of good stuff, or share with somebody else? Put it all in the chat. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. This is the time to toot your horn. This is the time to tell everybody what you're bringing with. Okay, let's get into the topic. Oh, by the way, if those of you are not following us on LinkedIn or YouTube or Facebook, please take the time to do that. Please take the time to invite anybody else along that you think might be benefit from the show, either this show or past shows, because you can always go back in the archives and find other shows that we've done. In fact, we are working on, I think, number 12 in a series right now. We're going to go probably to 13 and 14, and then we're going to begin a brand new series. And so you can go all the way back to the number 1 in this series and follow along with us. All the free downloads, all the free concepts, all the free information. There's no reason for you not to be effective at networking in your networking strategy, giving you all the tools that you would need to make that happen. And all you have to do is be able to download a document and read it, right? And then apply what you learned. Also, I have to remind you that even if for some reason you can't really see the information or understand the information, you can pick up the phone and call me. My information is scrolling across the screen right now. Right, so don't give yourself any excuse why you can't move forward in some of the things that I see. All my friends are coming through now. I see Lori's out there. I see Casey's out there. Thank you so very much. I want to remind you all again, put your information in the chat. Make sure everybody knows how to get to you. If there's something you want people to see, this is a business-friendly organization, a business-friendly opportunity. I don't hold anything back from anybody. Put it out there. This is, like I said, time to toot your own horn, time to be your own boss, time to make it happen for yourself and your business. And don't let anything stop you from doing that. You got to put that energy out there if you want to return it. You want to get it returned to you. Okay, let's get into today's topic. Today we're talking about planning with your high-performance team. So you've assembled a high-performance team of people, right? And you've made sure that they all have, like we talked about last week, they all believe in one another. They understand each other's talents. They understand what each other can bring to the table and what each other are willing to bring to the table. They've gone through the time, the talent, and treasure that everyone wants to do. They believe in each other, and they are fully committed to the mission and committed to each other as you're going through to get things done. Now you're ready to start your planning, as long as you got these next two things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about mission today, and we're going to talk about process today. Mission. Let's get into mission. Right. So first of all, I'm a big believer when you got a high performance team. This is one of the hardest things you can do with a high performance team is get everybody thinking in the same way. So I'm a big believer, and this is against a lot of management principles you're going to see But I'm going to tell you why I believe what I believe. I believe in group tunnel vision, right? Your team should be so excited, so motivated, so well structured, and so well understanding of who they are that they're thinking in a collective way. That they're thinking about how to plan this thing, how to move forward in the best way possible. And they're all bringing their absolute A game. So you have to do a good job as a leader, facilitator, wherever you are on the team. You have to do a good job of making sure that you understand every other team member's, idea of what that mission is and how that mission will affect their lives and how it would affect their positively affect their lives and how it will help them accomplish some goals within the mission as well as outside of the mission, because you're looking for mission alignment and you're looking for a unified vision or consensus of a unified vision. I'm going to give you a quote. This is from Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan says, "Talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence wins championships." Talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence wins championships. Think about that for a second. If you got a talented team that you put together, the only reason they can't win and win consistently is they're not all similarly situated in terms of the mission, in terms of how they're going to go after whatever it is they're going after. So the mission becomes your reason. It becomes your purpose. It becomes not just yours as a leader, but everybody's purpose and everybody's mission. And everybody's going to take a piece of that mission. It's going to mean something subtly different for every team member. But you want to be able to capture and understand that idea. Because to say that something is a mission to a group or a team doesn't mean they all interpret it the same way. And go, well, this is our mission. There's that public-facing mission, but there's also the mission that you want to engender and make sure that everybody else understands. Let me give you an example. Phi Beta Sigma's mission is culture for service, service for humanity. I'm sorry, that's our motto. But our mission, it changes every year. There's been a year where we had mission to be the #1 institution serving African American males and the issues that affect them. That's what we wanted to do. That was the mission of one of my favorite presidents of this organization. And he made sure we all believed in that mission. We are becoming the premier #1 organization effectively serving the issues that affect African American males. That was the mission, right? And everybody who embraced that mission, though, they thought about it subtly different. What can each of you do to be effective in that mission? That was a call that we had to answer. As individuals, as chapters, as regions, we had to answer that question. Well, what does that mission mean to us? And how will we implement our programs in such an effective way that we collectively become the leading public service organization, effectively serving the issues of the African American males. That mission, as you can tell, that mission came out in 1980 or around about that time. I still remember it to this day. Several administrations later, several presidents later, other presidents have come in, they've had another mission statement, another interpretation of the mission statement that galvanized the troops, that got us all excited, got us all moving in the right direction. But that one really stuck with me because it was such an effective statement. That's what you're going for. You're not going for just an effective statement. You're going for a feeling that people can coalesce around and begin to move forward. My girl Lori, in sowing our seeds, it is in and of itself. It might be the name of the program that she's doing, right? Maybe the name of the organization that she's sponsoring, but it's also an understanding, gives you an understanding of what the mission may be for this organization. And the mission drives purpose. It drives the reason. It's the reason why we all get together and say we're going to do this because of sowing our seeds. That's what we're going to do. We're going to sow some seeds. We're going to start some stuff, and we're going to make sure it has what it needs to grow. We're not just going to sow the seed. No, we're going to fertilize it. We're not just going to fertilize it. No, we're going to make sure it's got the right kind of elements, the sunlight, the water, what it needs to take root and really become something special, and then create the ecosystem by which small business leaders can be more successful. But it starts with those small, individualized efforts that when we come together and bring them all together, we create a forest. We create something indomitable, something that could, change lives and create life and bring new opportunities and entrepreneurs into being. That mission is exciting, right? So you want to make sure that you collectively work with your high performance team to create that kind of mission understanding. And it only can come when you have that unified, clear vision of, where you're going, what is your destiny, what is your purpose, what is your reason. You gotta have that thing, and you gotta hammer those details out. And don't leave the room. And don't get started on your mission unless you have that understanding. I see some comments coming through. I can't answer all the comments because I'm on my phone today. I do apologize for you guys. This is the last time I'm not going to be, at home with my computer in my home studio working, so I can be able to respond to questions, comments, and all that kind of stuff. But I promise you, I'll go back in later on and respond to all of your questions and comments and thoughts and ideas, whether you did it on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook. So I'm going to be right there with you guys. This is an exciting time for me, like I said earlier, because we're talking about, a program that I wrote and created over 20 years ago that has helped thousands of entrepreneurs learn how to function well with one another, right? It's one thing to go, I'm going to be successful by myself. It's another thing to know how important it is to bring other people with you. And getting us, once you've assembled your team, however your team is, your team of advisors, your team of consultants, your team of people that you are working with in terms of they work for you, in terms of under your umbrella, joint venture partnerships, it doesn't matter. You want high performing people, you have to treat them in the ways that I'm sharing with you today. The last thing I want to talk about, and this probably is the most important aspect of planning to win with your major team. You have to agree on the process. Whatever process or procedures or strategies you're going to use collectively to do the thing that you need to do, even before you start planning, you need to agree on those processes. If you don't agree on those processes ahead of time, what you're going to find is you're going to have, again, we're talking about high performers. Everybody's going to bring to the table what they think is the best process to use to accomplish whatever it is that you want to accomplish, because they've used them in the past. But I want you to understand that because I'm in love with a certain process or a certain technology or a certain procedure, it doesn't mean that's the most effective way to do it for the entire team, right? So I'm going to have a great facilitator to help me keep my ego in check, right? And really take in what is the process and procedure this person is suggesting and how's that going to be functioning. What's the process and procedure this person is suggesting and how's that going to be functioning? And can we come up with a solution that works best for the collective mission that we've all agreed on and we've all shared? How about that? Leaders that don't take the time to do this have people who have in their mind what a legacy process is, and they're going to bring that process to whatever they do, because that's what they're most familiar with. And there might be some new stuff out there, some new programs, some new procedures, some new technology, something new they can bring to the table, but nobody's ignoring that because they're doing the same thing. I'm going to do the thing that's been working for me for the last 20 years. Again, you got to help these people get their ego out of the way, because high-performing people always come with some level of ego, because they know they're good. They know they're great at what they do. They may not know how to work collectively in a team like this one you've assembled, but they know that they are great at their strategies, and they know that they can trust what they put together in the past. They don't know that they can necessarily trust what somebody else is bringing to the table. So this is what I'm talking about, creating a high trust environment. You really, really have to do the work interpersonally to figure out what everybody brings to the table, what everybody's doing well, exceptionally well, what everybody would desire to get from this opportunity to work together, coordinate together, be together, whatever it is that you're doing. You want to know how everybody's feeling about it, everybody's getting about it, and that kind of stuff. Because you'll have people who you invite to the team and then you kind of hang out on the sidelines if you show up at all. And you'll be wondering why. What happened? Well, it's because you didn't bring them in the right way. You didn't invite them in the right way. You didn't make sure they understood this is something going to be good for them, and that takes time. You really do have to do that work, because if you do that work, then people are going to come. They're going to come with their hearts and minds open, and they're going to be ready to share everything they have. Again, you have to agree on the process, right? I'm going to give you a quote here. This is from Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa said, "None of us, including me, ever do great things, but we all can do small things with great love. And together we can do something wonderful." If you have a high performance group or a high performing team, a group that is already excellent at everything they do, and you can't figure out how to bring them together to make magic happen, it's not them. That's the problem. It's the leadership. That's the problem. And it's learning how to effectively communicate to each of them. When I've been brought onto great teams, the leaders and facilitators have been very careful to introduce me to the team in a way so that everybody knows this is what Coach Powell brings to the table. This is what Coach Powell can do exceptionally well. This is what we can trust Coach Powell. This is what I trust Coach Powell for, so therefore you can trust Coach Powell. They leverage the talent so that everybody can see what's going on, what's available. When you need blah, 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 you want to call Coach Powell. If you're not bringing people onto the team in a way that everybody can understand the skills, the talents, the beliefs, the trust that you have in them, in a way, you're just throwing them in there and seeing what goes, you're creating an adversarial opportunity instead of an opportunity that's going to be beneficial. So be careful, you leaders out there. When you bring somebody together, when you start to organize and coordinate with people, don't just go, well, this person knows blah, blah, blah. They meet these requirements. Check, 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 check. There you go. Go for it. No. Bring them in. Talk to them about what they're really comfortable with. Understand how you need to be shared. What needs to happen to your situation. I see you out there, Candy Bassey. I hope I pronounced that. Hope I pronounced that right. Thank you so much for coming on. Thanks very much for logging on. Thanks for sharing your information. Definitely put your information in the chat. Let's stay in touch with each other. Answer any question. Give an amen, thumbs up, whatever you got going on. Let's keep this party going. So we're talking about process. We've already talked about the fact that you need to agree on the process. But in agreeing with the process, what am I saying? When you're documenting your most important activities and expectations, you have an understanding of what it is it takes to do what you need to do, right? You've documented that process. Even before you begin to plan on what the new process, you've documented what you've done in the past, so you know what works and what doesn't work. You can bring that data to this new team, to this new understanding, to this new program. But if you haven't documented your stuff, and you're just kind of like talking off the dome or shooting from the hip about what's going on, then it's more difficult for you to share that. So write it down. If you're an expert or talent at something, and you know you are, write it down. And then when you're walking up to somebody else and say, this is me, this is what I'm all about, this is what I bring to the table. I created a process called True Voice. I highly encourage anybody to take a look at it and do the True Voice assessment on themselves before they turn it on somebody else. But it's actually an interview strategy that I use to help people bring the best out of themselves when they're communicating who they are and what they bring to the table. So if you want to have it, just put it in the chat, let me know, send you the True Voice profile. I'll definitely send it to you. Okay, but I'm not going to just throw it out there if you don't want it. So if you want the True Voice, let me know. Put it in the chat. Let me know, and I'll follow up later on. I'll send it to you. I promise you. But agreeing on the process is more than just agreeing on what we're going to do. You have to do it in detail. You have to know what that detail is. And again, writing it down really helps. Another thing you should probably do is perform a SWOT analysis on the very last exercise or processes that you engaged in to do whatever you're going to be doing on the team. Do that for yourself, because I promise you, as you begin to look at it, really truly look at your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats, And this is really good, not just to keep it to yourself, but to share it with other people, and that people that might have been engaged in a similar or the same process, or even the same thing that you were doing, right? What happens is you start to see alignment opportunities, right? You start to see where your strengths can be bolstered by opportunities, and your weaknesses could be covered by other people's strengths. And the threats that you have out there might be a threat that only you're seeing, but somebody else may be looking at it and go, well, that's not really a threat. That's not really something coming at you. That's a perception that you have, but it ain't real. And that means you can move forward with confidence, knowing that, oh, I thought this was a threat, but this is not really a threat. Because here's the mitigating strategy we already talked about, and I don't have to deal with that no more. That SWOT analysis gives you a way so that when you come to the team, you're getting able to explain, this is what I'm strong in, here's where I have weaknesses, here's where I have opportunities, here's where I have threats, right? Put your ego to the side, because you have to bring whatever you bring to the table for the team. And if the team doesn't know what you're good at, the team doesn't know what you're weak at, they may be challenging you going, I need you to do this, but you already know you're weak at that. And you don't tell them, you know what? I will be better at this because I've demonstrated some excellence here. I understand that how to do that. And if you let me do that, I think we'll get a lot further in the team and we'll work collectively together. And then you won't have me dragging down the team with my weaknesses. Right? So you have to do that work on yourself, but also do that work. And I'm challenging even leaders to make sure that when you bring somebody on the team, tell them bring this SWOT analysis that they did on themselves. Then we'll talk to them about it. Don't just ask them what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what are your threats. Don't do that. Because first of all, unless they're prepared to answer these questions, it's going to catch them off guard. And they're not really. It is very hard for people to expose their weaknesses. But here's what happens cognitively. If I tell you my strengths and weaknesses, and I'm being authentic and honest about that, and open with that information, I'm saying to you, I trust you. Now, if you take that and you run with it and you do something negative, or you do something that can hurt me, then my trust was misplaced. Right? But if you take it and you do something with it that's going to enhance me and cover my weaknesses and strengthen my strengths, then I'm going to feel like I belong. I'm going to feel like I'm in a good place. I'm going to feel like, I can give my best in this environment without fear of reprisal or backlash or somebody, throwing me into fear, doubt, blame, and shame. These are the things that we want to try to avoid as we move forward with one another. But it's very, very difficult if you don't communicate effectively. It's very, very difficult if you don't do what you need to do to make sure you have a high trust environment. So I'm telling you this because I know this to be true. I've seen it happen thousands and thousands of times, and I've worked with hundreds of organizations, and we've talked about these principles. If you can't get your team to be your team of experts, to be at a high level of trust with and for one another, you're going to create chaos. And so you need to take the time to build that and plan that in. Agree on the processes. Get that done, right? These are a couple things, another things you need to do to agree on the process, right? In whatever process you're going to use, there are going to be primary and there's going to be secondary or subtle processes that are at play as well. And understanding what those are, talking about what those might be with each other and collectively is the smart thing to do. And it all is a question that you may even know some answers for yourself, but you want to ask the question, how might we approach this? If you were me, how would you approach this? Whatever the mission is, the vision is, the goals are, how would you approach it? What would be the things that you would be making sure that you do first and foremost? What would be the main things that you would think about doing? And if the person says, first of all, for me, I would do boom, 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 boom. Now, you want to collect all that information from everybody on the team. I suggest you follow a process that I use all the time called brain writing. It's not brainstorming, it's brain writing. Because if you get somebody to say, okay, remember I asked you about how we might do this, if you were me, what you might do? I need you to give me the top 3 things that you're going to do first. and you collect that from everybody. 3 things from this person, 3 things from that person, and then you're going to find out where they all agree. And you're going to talk about those things. It seems like of the 6 of you, 5 of you agree that we should be doing blah, 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 blah. Who wants to talk about why they think this is so important? And then get everybody to talk about it. What you're finding is you're finding that opportunity for them to agree. You're finding an opportunity for them to come together to the team with a collective thought that they didn't even know they all had until you help share it with them. Don't get them to just talking. Because if you get them to talk about this kind of stuff, what's going to happen is the ones with the loudest mouth are going to run rickshaw over those who are quiet and more cerebral. So you want everybody's ideas, you want everybody's on the table, so don't make them talk to each other, make them write it down first. Then you discuss it. That's called brainwriting. And that's how you get the really best ideas on the table. Without anybody holding back or going, somebody else is going, that was a better idea than the one I had, so I'm not going to share my idea now. Right? You want as many ideas as you can get in front of to help you plan and help the team feel comfortable with one another. Super, super important. The other thing you got to do is to recognize strengths. When somebody has an expertise and a talent, you as the leader have to make sure that talent is recognized appropriately. Now, to my Christian friends, I'm one of them. I identify as a Christian. I got a problem that I'm going to share with you that you need to figure out how to get around and work through. And one of that is that humble thing. We've been taught in Western civilization in the world, and in most Christian philosophies, it's important to be humble. And I'm saying, yes, I agree. It is important to be humble. But it's also important when you're in the right moment with the right people at the right time to be fully out there in terms of what you are expressing and what you're thinking and what you're feeling, and you can't hold back. All right? This is the time to let your light shine. I remember Jesse Jackson once said, you don't want to put your light under a bushel where nobody can see it. And I get that. And you have to figure out how to balance that out for yourself. But I will tell you, you can be humble your way right out of an opportunity because nobody can see what you bring to the table, how smart you are, how talented you are, how intelligent you are. And you need to make sure that people can see it when they need to see it. And so you can't be out there all the time. All right? I'm not saying that, it's about me all the time. But there is a point where you have to show up in all your glory. And you can't be shy about that. Now, I'm talking to my introverts out there because I'm an introvert. These kinds of moments where I'm fully out there and I'm really giving people everything that I know, everything, all my talent, all my expertise, everything I can think of, right, to share, I'm sharing it. I got a problem with that. There's a lot of energy going out with me. And I'm not necessarily feeling good about it. I know it's effective, but that's what I have to do in order to let my light shine. Right? But it's important that I do it, even though my introvert heart was like, Marvin, really, you can take a break. It's Friday, you're with your fraternity brothers, you're at a conference. Why don't you just, sit down? I want to do that. But I made a commitment. I made a promise that I'm going to deliver this for small businesses as much as I possibly can. So I decided to drag you with me. And, some people will go, well, maybe you should have done that. Maybe you should have done that. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm not here to play small. I'm not here to help you play small. I want you to play big. I want you to play Michael Jordan big. I want you to go all out. Because who's people who need to see you, people who need to understand that you have this gift, whatever the gift is, they can't see you if you're not playing in the game. They can't see you if you're not putting your talents on display. So I highly encourage you. If anybody has any problems with that, hit me up on the chat, to connect with me, whatever that is, and let's discuss it. But I promise you, I'm right. Okay? So here we go. What else do you have to agree on? You have to agree on the recognized strengths, but you also have to agree on the lead activity for your group, for your team. You can't all agree that practice is important, but then never hold practice. Whatever it is that you're agreeing on, you need to agree on how to implement and how to get ready for it. Because you can't keep it all to yourself. Leaders tend to do this. They tend to go, well, I'm going to think it all through and then I'm going to tell everybody what we're doing. Again, you're dealing with high performance people, high quality people. You can't do that to them. You need to let them have some skin in the game. You need to let them agree on what the next strategies are going to be and when it's going to happen and to what level of intensity and what's going to be on the agenda and how far you're going to go. You need to do that, because if you don't do that, they're going to feel like, nobody told me about this, nobody talked to me about it. I didn't agree to do this. I didn't think about it. Nobody considered me in this whole situation. And then again, you're creating adversarial relationships. You're creating opportunities for people to go, doubt, fear, blame, shame, and sneak in through that door that you kept open as a leader. So make sure you've agreed on the lead activities, the most important activities. And there's a difference between lead activities and lag activities. Lead activities are the activities that get you to the results that you're looking for. Lag activities are the activities that just sort of happen. Unfortunately, we like to measure the lag activity looking for the lead. We accomplish this, we accomplish that. Your accomplishment is not a leading activity. It's the activity that drove the accomplishment that's a leading activity. That's the stuff you got to really truly measure. It's the hard thing to measure, so we don't do it too often. But if you agree on what the leading activities are going to be, and then you start to measure everybody's input to those leading activities, now you got someplace. You got someplace where you can move forward going, okay, we put this amount of energy into the situation. Now we're getting closer and closer to the resolution, so we gotta ramp it up, and we can see if we can't get there faster, harder, better. And by the way, your team is gonna get better as you move forward. But as you create the lag activities and you start moving forward, you're gonna start to see, man, this lead activity or this lead activity doesn't work in the way I thought it was gonna work. Maybe we need to make an adjustment. You gotta be willing to make adjustments. That's why it's important to have a lot of belief and a lot of trust in your team, because they have to have a lot of faith and a lot of belief in each other, because adjustments will happen. You will have to make adjustments to what you think is the lead activity as you move forward in any plan. Okay, establishing reporting procedures and timing. Again, that has to be part of your plan. A part of your plan has to be, here is when we're going to be checking in, here's when we're going to be reporting, here's what we're going to be recording, here's the timing of that situation so that everybody can stay on pace. And then you can see who's lagging, who's not stepping up, and who's not, and you can make adjustments according to what you need to do. But if you don't have any plan up front to start to get into the reporting procedures and the planning and the timing of those things, then you're going to fall behind very quickly. And you're going to find people who are opting out when they should be engaging and opting in. The last thing I want to talk about when it comes to agreeing in terms of how you want to agree with your team is the daily and weekly tasks. The things that you want everybody to do on a very consistent basis, you need to make sure that they understand what those things are. They're doing those things. They understand the reasons why you're asking or suggesting that they may want to do this on a really consistent basis because it helps them. I promise you this. Even the most excellent time manager can improve. Even the most organized, well-functioning individual on a team can improve. I'm going to leave you with this last statement, and this is something that was taught to me years ago by Dr. Maulana Karenga. I never forget it. Dr. Karenga says, all of us are ongoing, continuing projects. None of us is a finished product. What that means is simply this. No matter how high performing your team is that you recruit, no matter how excellent they are individually what they do, you're bringing them together, they're doing something different as a result of just being together. There's a whole lot of communication, a lot of differences you're going to have to get around and get over. There's a whole lot of ego that you're going to have to learn how to manage and deal with in order to move the whole team forward. And I will promise you this. If you look at everybody as a finished product, like they can't learn, and they can't grow, and they can't accomplish new and better things than they've done in the past, then you are cutting them off from whatever blessing is going to be coming in their direction as a result of being and working in it on this team. You don't want to be the catalyst that causes somebody to feel like this is a waste of time. You don't want to be the catalyst that causes somebody to feel like they shouldn't bring their A game to whatever this effort is. You want just the opposite. You want people to feel like they belong. You want them to feel good about what they're doing and what you guys are doing together. And that means you got to be open to their ideas. You got to be communicative of their value. And you have to make sure that they're ready to get in there and do the planning before they do the execution. Now, over the next couple weeks, we're going to talk about execution. And I know some of you all have some thoughts. So I might kick it out there to you. If you have thoughts on execution and the implementation of a wonderful plan, and you want to share, you want to come on, you want to do some group coaching together and share the information with everybody else, let me know. Text me, hit me in the DMs. I'm going to respond. I'd love to see you out there. Let me see the comment section. Oh my God. Kenai is out there. Pamela's out there. I see you. Hugh Cooper's out there. Hugh Cooper Senior's out there. Oh my goodness. People coming in from Facebook, from LinkedIn, everywhere. Thank you all so much. I love you. I truly do. I'm so thankful that you exist, that your business exists. Anything that's out there that you want us to learn or think about, put it in the chat. Let's keep this engagement going. I don't care whether you're watching this on demand or you're watching it live. And let's keep this community and this family moving forward in a positive and wonderful way. I leave you with these parting words. I'm going to share one last quote with you when it comes to planning and developing with your team. And I want you to let this sort of sink in and truly hear it. Because a lot of times we're such in a rush to try to move things forward, but we don't take the time. And we don't really do the things that we need to do. Peter Drucker, management wizard of all time. If you haven't read Drucker, you got to read Drucker. He says, unless commitment is made, there are only promises and hopes, but no plan. Planning is essential. Whether or not you reach the goal, or whether or not you get to where you want to go, if you have a great plan and a high performance team, I promise you, magic is going to happen in the implementation. But you got to start with those basics. If you don't get that right, you don't have a plan, and you're trying to wrangle together people of different disciplines, of different sorts, you're going to have a hard time. And you don't have to have as hard a time. It's tough, don't get me wrong, but you got to do it. You got to do it big. So for those of you who have been following, I gave you the cliff notes of what I talked about today and the 9 steps to high performance networking and all that kind of good stuff. I put that in the chat already for you. So you can just go download that from the show notes, whether you're watching on LinkedIn, YouTube, or whatever. If for some reason you can't get to it, can't find it, ask me for it, and I'll get it to you. God bless you. I love you dearly. Thank you so very much for hanging out. I'm going to have a good time with my fraternity brothers, and I hope you all have a great, phenomenal weekend. Talk to you soon.